Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Vacation Insight video here from Laughing Place. I'm Rebekah, the co-founder of Laughing Place, and with me is Heather from MEI Mouse Fan Travel. How are you doing over there, Heather?
I'm good. How are you, Rebekah?
It's a dreary day here, and one of my team is actually at Disneyland and sharing pictures, and it looks absolutely stunning, so I'm very jealous.
I was
So
going
here,
to
let
say
me
it's gorgeous here in
look at
Southern
that.
California, so I can't complain.
Who doesn't want to be right there on the rivers of America?
I mean, I would trade. It's a little chilly down here, though. It looks beautiful, but
Okay.
it's cold by Southern California standards. It's only about 60 here in LA, so probably about 5 or 10 degrees more
Oh,
down in Disneyland.
it's okay, but there's sun and blue skies.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. I'll take it. That's why I live here.
Well, we're here to talk a little bit about what's coming here to the Disneyland Resort in 2024 and maybe give you some information also about various deals and a little bit of insight as to why we recommend a travel advisor as you're making your vacation plans this year. So, Heather, where should we start out? I'll let you kind of kick us off.
I guess maybe we should start with what's coming new to Disneyland. Um, and the big one, the big attraction, I suppose we talked about it a little bit last week, is the Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is taking over Splash Mountain. We don't really have a date yet. I'm assuming it's going to be way later in the year, but I'm really excited because I love the music for Princess and the Frog. I loved Splash Mountain, so now we get to combine them and see what Disney does.
And we've already seen a little bit of the impact of this new addition in that they've transformed one of the New Orleans Square restaurants into a celebration of Tiana.
I mean, I feel like that was a long time coming, right?
Right?
Like we have New Orleans Square. Princess and the Frog has been out for 20 years now, like 15 years. What took them so long? And I don't know. I don't think you've had a chance to go, but I got to peek in November, and the food's delicious. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a lot of fun.
I haven't had a chance to see the location, but I did have a chance to sample its menu. And the beignets were amazing. I loved it. It was a lemon filling. It was called like an icebox pie
Okay.
concept, and so it was a really bright lemon in a beignet. And the gumbo I enjoyed the gumbo that we had. It was an amazing eats. And yeah, I can't wait to try it in person because the setting is beautiful. It's like they've transformed that entry into like a starry sky, and you've got
Yeah.
little
Uh-huh.
nods to the film. Really beautiful.
Yeah, it's really nice, and I'm glad they did it. Like I said, it was about time. But we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But yeah, it's a great thing.
Let's see. So I guess first up at the resort, as far as events go, is just around the corner, and that's the Lunar New Year celebration. Yes?
This is hands down my favorite thing that Disneyland does all year. And it's something that you only get at Disneyland here in the States. Obviously, they do it at the parks in China. But because there is such a huge Asian market, not only that lives here, but that comes over to visit, they do a Lunar New Year celebration every year. It's only about 2.5 weeks long in early February. It usually coincides with my birthday, so I try to make it down there every year. But it's very small, but it's so cool what they do. They really highlight the Chinese culture. So there is a gorgeous parade, which you're showing now, with beautiful red and golds, and they have the lucky dragons, and Mulan comes, and Mushu's there, and it's just a little mini parade around California Adventure. They also have a handful of food booths highlighting not only Chinese foods, but different Asian culture foods that are absolutely delicious. And then they do things like paper lantern makings, or you can write little wishes on pieces of paper and kind of make your wishes for the new year. They've done face painting in the past, and it's just a really lovely celebration of this culture. And I think it's worth the visit. It's not anything major, but it just kind of pluses up your stay.
And I'm going to say a quick hello to Orange Grove 55. Thanks for stopping in and saying hi OG. Appreciate it. Love what you do over there on your channel as well. With this event being and like January through February, I know there's certain package sales right now going on. Maybe we should talk a little bit about what some of those that might coincide with travel during this time.
Yeah, so Disneyland has 3 offers for those of you who are not in Southern California. Unlike Disney World, Disneyland doesn't have major offers that they release months and months and months in advance. They have, here or there sporadically room discounts. So this year, most of these discounts right now are only through the first week in March. So there is a broad hotel offer, which is save up to 20% on your hotel stay. This is, again, only for the Disney resorts here. There's only 3 resorts at Disneyland that Disney owns. And these discounts always only apply to the 3 Disney hotels. So you can save up to 20% depending on the nights of the week you're staying and the hotel that you're staying at. And that's available through March 7th. And then let's see, what else do we have?
What are the 3? Let's pause a moment and talk a little bit about those 3 hotels.
Sure. So the Grand Dame, if you will, sorry, my dog is trying to get comfortable. The Grand Dame Hotel is the Grand Californian. And this is so beautiful. It's like a California craftsman style. It's the absolute closest you can stay to any Disney park, basically anywhere except, I think, Paris. Mm-hmm. It has its own private entrance right into Grand California, the Grand California, Disney's California Adventure. And, it has a ton of dining options, beautiful rooms. There's also villas there. However, those tend to be reserved for DVC members. Then they're mid-range, if we can call it mid-range, because I think it's very much a deluxe property.
Yes.
Is the Disneyland Hotel. And that's the OG Disney resort. Disney kind of contracted out some people to build it and run it in the 50s and 60s. And then they wound up buying it back and transformed it into the Disneyland Hotel. So if you're going for some nostalgia, mm-hmm. This is where you want to stay. They do a really great job in keeping it modern, but also nodding to the Disney history. And in fact, I think we're going to talk about it, but they just built new villas there that anybody can stay at. You do not need to be a DVC member. So if you are a larger family or you just like extra space, Disneyland Hotel is where you want to stay.
I was going to say, if you're a family looking at the Disneyland Resort hotels, while the Grand Californian is more elegant and adjacent to the property, like immediately adjacent to the property, the Disneyland Hotel is far more whimsical, more mm-hmm. fun. I mean, check this pool out with the monorail slide.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think this is like the Disney, like it's got the Disney magic here.
Yeah.
Like you said, very whimsical, but somehow still elegant. The rooms are also bigger here because it's a more vintage property. The rooms are bigger than what you're used to at Disney hotels, which I love. They have some of my favorite restaurants. This is where the original Trader Sam's is. So all of the Disney World people who know Trader Sam's at the Polynesian, Disneyland had it first. And this is the original one. And the new villas have the really cool Steamboat Willie splash pad and pool area. I think it's just beautiful. It is a little bit further from the parks, but by far, I mean that it takes 10 minutes to walk to the park.
Yeah, exactly.
Disneyland is very compact and everything is close by, which is so nice when you just want to take a rest or I love Disneyland for its size.
That is one of the major differences. If you're somebody who typically is planning a Walt Disney World vacation, don't be fooled though, because so here's the thing. Disneyland is compact. It's all right there. You can walk from one side of Disneyland. You can be on the back end of Disneyland and walk all the way to the backside of California Adventure. And we're not talking the kinds of distances you're talking when you're at a Walt Disney World location, trying to go from one place to another. It's so compact.
I have a really good video that I did a few years back where it's me. There's an esplanade that connects the entrances to the 2 parks. And it's me just standing in the middle of the esplanade and just kind of like circling around myself with the camera.
Yep.
If it takes you 30 seconds to walk from the gates of Disneyland to the gates of California Adventure, you are a very slow walker. It's right there. They're right on top of each other. And I think that is the charm of Disneyland. It's not quite as grandiose as Florida, Walt Disney World, but it is charming and it's much more accessible.
And even the park sizes themselves within the berm. Disneyland does not take up as much land space as Magic Kingdom does, but don't be fooled, because this resort packs in a lot of attractions and a lot of entertainment into this very small space. And so if you're trying to do a comparative, oh, I only spend this many days at Walt Disney World when I'm visiting the parks, take into account there's added layers of attractions and experiences when you're there. So you can't necessarily do a 1-for-1. Oh, I only spend a day at Magic Kingdom, so therefore I only going to spend a day at Disneyland. They're not equivalent as far as the amount of time you want to invest there.
No, Disneyland has way more attractions than Magic Kingdom does, even though it's smaller. My Disney nerd fun fact is that the entirety of Disneyland Park can fit into the parking lot of the Magic Kingdom. That's how small it is, but you probably have several dozen more attractions to see and do than you do at the Magic Kingdom. There's a lot more. And then I think also what I love about Disneyland that Florida just cannot compare to is that they are aware that the majority of their guests at any given time are California locals, people who live in the area, drive over, they go after work, they go after school. Disney World doesn't really have that to the extent Disneyland does. So Disneyland is constantly trying to keep things fresh. So whether that is the different festivals, like we just mentioned, new snacks, it's spring, so we're going to change the flavor of our beignets and our churros. They always have date nights at Disneyland like they used to in the 50s, where it's kind of you buy a separate ticket and here's tonight's theme, and there'll be music and different characters out. They also do attraction overlays, which Disney World really doesn't do. Occasionally, maybe they'll do like the Jingle Cruise. Disneyland does them all the time for every holiday. They're doing one that's coming in April and May, which is Hyperspace Mountain, just for Star Wars celebration. They're going to change Space Mountain into Hyperspace Mountain. And they do that a couple of times a year. Sometimes they'll change out Soarin' and it'll become the original one. And so they're constantly making little tiny changes to keep things fresh, which I appreciate because it gives you a reason to want to go down and visit.
Well, and that's even reflected in some of the decor. For example, later this year, they have Pixar Fest is coming. I guess that's spring into summer. And it's going to bring with it, you're going to have Pixar banners all over the park. You're going to have a beautiful, they just did, I think I have the picture here. They just did a concept art release of, they're going to have this icon there as you enter Main Street with the Pixar characters.
Imagine how long the line for that photo op is going to be. It's going to be so long. But then they do special, they'll have all just sorts of different Pixar treats. Tons of characters that you've never met before are going to be out. So I like that they're constantly trying to do things like Disney World will decorate for the holidays, but Disneyland is doing stuff like that all the time, all year, that has nothing to do with a holiday.
Yeah, and kind of think of it in the same way that Epcot kind of moves through various festivals, but it's really just focused right there, in Epcot, whereas it ends up exploding all over the resort. The Pixar Fest is not only going to be found over at Disneyland with what we were just sharing, but they're also that's when a new parade is going to be unveiled over at California Adventure, celebrating the characters of Pixar. So here at Laughing Place, we've recapped the various events and fun that are coming to Disneyland Resort throughout 2024. So that'll be linked below, but we thought we'd talk about some of it here and kind of share, because Heather's experienced a lot of it. So we figured
I'm lucky in that I live reasonably close by LA standards. And so when there's something new and interesting, I can get down there. It is not unlike me to see, they've announced a new treat. And I'm like, I have 3 hours tomorrow. I'm just going to drive down and go get this snack and come back.
And Star Whisper is coming in with what is the reality of going to a Disney resort. Me and my husband, non-California residents, are planning to go to DCA Disneyland this spring. Sticker shock. to
Yes.
see. It's $620 for just 2 adults for 2 days. That's non-weekend, and that's not a park hopping ticket. That's one park per day. So yeah,
it's super pricey. But if we're talking just tickets, so is Disney World. Disney is not a cheap property. It's very expensive for tickets. And in fact, if you're going to do a hotel and ticket package, it's usually the ticket price that drives everything up. But in terms of hotels, the Disney hotels are very expensive, especially compared to their Florida counterparts.
mm-hmm.
The simple reason for that is supply and demand. There are only 3 Disney hotels here. Everything else is a good neighbor hotel, which I know we'll talk about. And so the pricing is so high because there's so limited amount of hotel rooms and so many people want to stay there that they can charge that. And I will tell you that they sell out because I'm constantly pricing them, and they might not sell out until a few weeks before, but they sell out, especially, my goodness, if you want to go in October. Halloween is very big out here, way bigger than it is in Florida. And when they release those Oogie Boogie Bash tickets, those weekends, hotels are gone. I mean, months in advance, you can't get a Disney hotel for the nights of those parties.
Well, since you mentioned Halloween, can we talk a little bit about what kind of fun you can find at Disneyland during the Halloween season? I know we're jumping around a little bit, but we'll have links below if you want to sort it out in a more systematic way. But let's just kind of go where the spirit moves us.
This is my favorite holiday.
I could tell your smile just lit up. Okay, so what's so special about Disneyland at Halloween, Heather?
I don't think anybody does Halloween quite as well as Disney does. So they have, like I mentioned, Oogie Boogie Bash, which is an after-hours separate ticketed event. You can kind of think of it like Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. There's trick-or-treating, there's special treats, there's special lighting, special shows, all of that. Even if you don't want to go to that, there's Halloween fun to be found everywhere at Disneyland.
And this begins in August, by the way.
Yes.
Halloween time visits Disneyland Resort beginning like August 23rd is what they've announced. So.
I'm a purist and will not go until October, but it does. I can't, when it's 106 degrees down here, you're not going to find me, going for the Headless Horseman. But it does start in August, so you can kind of get this fix months long. So they have the different snacks that they'll release. A personal favorite of mine is the they have an official name for it, but it's basically at the Cozy Cone Motel. It's a macaron shaped like a traffic safety cone, but it looks like a candy corn. It's really cute. But so there's all those different, like basically any kiosk, any restaurant, any snack stand, they all have special Halloween treats and menus. And it's like, if you read the Disney Parks blog come like August, it's 10 pages long of here's all our snacks, here's where you can get them. And I print it out and I highlight it about where I'm going to go, what I'm going to get, because there's so many of them. There's also special entertainment that just happens around the park, included in your, in your ticket. Some of it's not even announced. You have no idea it's going to happen. I've been standing, on Main Street, and the Dapper Dans will come out and they just start singing Halloween theme songs. Or I've been standing in line for Pirates of the Caribbean, and all of a sudden you hear this music start to play, and across the rivers of America on a little float, these like ghouly, like dressed like ghosts, undead characters just start singing, theme from the Haunted Mansion. Like, it just pops up like that. All of the characters are in their fancy Halloween costumes. But I think probably the best are the attraction overlays. The Haunted Mansion holiday, which stays up from September through the Christmas holidays, probably through January. I don't even like the Nightmare Before Christmas, but it is by far the best attraction overlay I've ever experienced in my life. So they just basically take the Haunted Mansion and turn it into a Nightmare Before Christmas, and I challenge you not to smile while that is happening. It's so much fun. You've done it, right?
Oh, yes. No, we were actually there when it debuted, and it blew my mind. It still does annually when we get a chance to take a peek at it. And I, like you, am not a Nightmare Before Christmas fan. I don't revisit the film, but yet having that story take over the Haunted Mansion, have Jack Skellington as your narrator. You encounter him throughout the attraction, kind of here and there. When you come, when you come through if you've been on the attraction before, when you come from the attic out into the graveyard, it's
so happy, right? Like you're in a graveyard, but it's just like you're bouncing along with the song.
And I'm partial to gingerbread, so the fact that the smell of gingerbread overtakes the mansion because of that amazing annual gingerbread house that they build in the banquet room. Yeah,
there's a giant, if you've never ridden, on the banquet table, in the like that big ballroom scene, there is a giant, usually 6 foot tall gingerbread house made fresh every year, and it's never the same. Every year they change the design, so you never know what it's going to be. And they will usually release something on the parks blog about a week before the Haunted Mansion reopens. And then sometimes, depending on the design, they'll next door at the French Market will have little like replica gingerbread cookies that you can go and buy. So that's the big thing. What's it going to be this year? What's it going to look like? But I will say my favorite attraction overlay that they haven't done in the past 2 years or so is Ghost Galaxy. So it's Space Mountain with a haunted overlay where you're basically chased through the galaxy by this demonic spirit. It is so terrifying and exhilarating, and it's pushing the Disney, like, we're family friendly, like it gets to that point of terrifying you, and it's so fantastic. I hope they bring that back this year.
I'm partial to the one that they do for Star Wars, the Hyperspace Mountain. That is by far my favorite of kind of those Space Mountain overlays. So yeah, my husband is asking, our travel advisors such as Heather and those at MEI, do you assist with things like Oogie Boogie Bash? Because I know that there's an intense interest in getting those tickets.
Oh gosh, it's impossible to get these tickets, but yes, we do. I definitely sat on hold because they are only released on the Disneyland website on a certain day. This year it crashed twice, so they were released 3 days because they couldn't get their website to work. But yes, I sat on hold for my clients trying to get them. I also know of a few super secret ways to obtain them if you are unable to purchase them on the day that they are released. These are all legal, Disney sanctioned, and above board. They go through Disney, but if you can't get your tickets to Oogie Boogie Bash, I have ways that we can maybe make that work out for you.
So be sure to contact Mouse Fan Travel if you're looking at visiting Disneyland or Walt Disney World. They do have, you can get a no obligation free quote. Just fill out some basic information about what kind of travel you're looking at. And like I say, they will get that no obligation free quote out to you. As Heather says, there's no additional cost to you. So it's in essence already included in what you're paying for when you go to a Disney vacation. So why not take advantage of having a travel advisor partnering with you in your vacation planning? This is my favorite thing about Halloween time.
I have so many pictures with him.
I love what happens in Radiator Springs. It's just a little bit of spooky fun. And I don't like scary. I'm not a scary person. I don't like to go to like super haunty stuff. Mm-hmm. But the way that it's just a little spooky is a lot of fun.
They have here too, which I haven't mentioned, is also during the Halloween celebrations, they have a Dia de los Muertos celebration for Day of the Dead, because there is a big Hispanic and especially Mexican culture in the area. Disney does a really nice little nod to that. So in Cars Land, next to the spider car, there's a little like candy skull car that I love, and I always take pictures with her. But Cars Land at night, anytime, but especially at Halloween, it's just so pretty with all the different lighting and the neon that they do.
Are you a Monsters After Dark fan? That's the Halloween overlay that they do for Tower of Terror over there at California Adventure. No. Oh wait, it's called Mission Breakout.
Mission Breakout. I'm not, simply because I am not a Tower of Terror fan. That ride I can't do it. It hurts my stomach. I've ridden it once. I think Mission Breakout is a lot more fun than the regular daytime Guardians. And it's a whole new storyline. It only happens after dark, which is why it's after dark. But one and done. I rode it once just to see it. That's it. But it was a lot of fun. I just don't do that dropping.
And Halloween time is from August 23rd through the end of October through Halloween. And then the Plaza de la Familia at California Adventure also starts August 23rd, but it extends beyond Halloween into the first few days of November. So that'll be there until November 2nd. We were talking a little bit about the realities of the Disneyland Resort. And just to give you an idea, if you've not been there, so see all these little red dots? These are all like neighbor hotels. These are within a walking distance of the parks. All those little red dots there.
I want to point at my screen, but nobody can see me. Well, if you can kind of see in the middle towards the top, there's in very light blue writing, it says Disneyland Esplanade. That's where the entrance is to the two parks. So if you're looking at the very bottom of your screen here, where you can see like the Westin, anything along Catella Ave, those are within walking distance of the park, but there's only one entrance. So you would kind of need to walk along Catella, go up to Harbor Boulevard, and then cut into the Esplanade. So there's not a back entrance to Grand Californian if you're staying in those hotels. So just keep in mind, they're going to be probably a 10 to 15 minute additional walk over the ones that are kind of right there by the Esplanade. So I like to tell my clients that as best I can, I'm always going to put them in the hotels that are right across from the Esplanade. You may wind up spending $200 or $300 more, but that is very worth it at the end of the day. Or if you're trying to make, park opening, do not underestimate being across the street. The value is there. It's
If you can see how there's a blue shading that indicates the 15-minute walk zone, all the ones in the blue shading there. The ones beyond that, you're looking at a little further distance. The farthest right corner, you'll see one that's priced at $103. I've actually stayed at that hotel, and it's just about a mile and a half when all is said and done. And I actually Ubered from there rather than walk. However, at some points, but the nice thing about those hotels is between you and Disneyland is Anaheim's it's not City Walk. No, is it City Walk? Garden Walk.
Their Garden Walk, yeah.
The Garden Walk. And there's
so many good restaurants in there.
Yeah, and it has some restaurants. And so from time to time when we've stayed in hotels that are out in that area, we'll end up having a meal there either before making the rest of the way to the park or on the way back, right? You're walking back, you have your meal there before you get back to your hotel. Do you have any tips or information or things that people should know when they're thinking about it? I know you mentioned the reality of look at the distances when it comes to the Esplanade, because that's actually the where you're going to be entering, as it were.
Yes, so that is my most important tip, because you're going to walk a lot anyway. Why add an extra mile on? Some hotels offer shuttles. Look for that if that's important to you. If you're driving, every single hotel, Disney or not, has a parking fee. It is very common in Anaheim. It's just there's limited space. So it's not like Florida where they had endless, opportunities to build all these parking lots. So, prepare for that to be an additional expense. What else can I say? Oh, most of these hotels are motel style. That doesn't mean anything bad, but they are not the big fancy resorts you may be used to in Florida, where there's tons of pools and all these activities and all of these restaurants. You're going to have a tiny little lobby, and then you're going to have to walk outside and get to your hotel with the outdoor corridors, simply because when Disneyland was built in the 50s, motel, motor lodges, that's the type of property that was popular. And so that is what has sprung up and just hung on. So just be prepared to leave that Disney bubble. Obviously, there are some that are hotel style, but they tend to be further away from the parks outside of that shaded area. So just keep that in mind. I'm also going to throw this out because this is a new thing that Disneyland started last year, that Good Neighbor hotels no longer get early entry into the theme parks. So if
Okay.
you want that 30 minutes of early access, what used to be called extra magic hours, that is only available at the 3 Disneyland Resort hotels.
And sorry, go
I,
ahead.
I was just going to say it used to be something that was included for Good Neighbor hotels, but Disney took that away because they are charging a lot of money to stay at their hotels, and so they felt that they really needed to offer an additional value, and that's it.
So if you are going to stay within that Disney bubble, take advantage of those morning hours. They have recently renovated the Paradise Pier Hotel.
Yes.
It is going to open at the end of this month.
In about, 2 weeks it opens?
Yeah, as the
Mhm.
Pixar Play Hotel. They've shared a few images of it. Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. We actually had a chance to walk around it a little bit, and if you're a Pixar fan, this is going to be a delight.
It looks really cute. I mean, I've been there many times when it was Paradise Pier, and it was definitely time for a refurbishment but this I think is so cute. But what I will say about Paradise Pier is that it is the furthest from the theme parks of the 3 Disney hotels, so you have a little bit of a walk. But what they did over the last 8 months or so is that they kind of made a private entrance into California Adventure right over towards Pixar Pier, with the actual section of the park. It's not close. You have to cross the street and kind of go through the Grand Californian, but only guests who have a room key for Pixar Place can get into this little entrance, which I thought was nice. It's a nice little perk. Like I said, not very close, but another little perk. And I will say that these rooms, they have a specific theme park view room category in this hotel, are amongst probably some of the best views of any Disney hotel other than the Castle Club suites at the Disneyland Hotel in Paris. I mean, you look like you are on top of the theme park. Not even the Grand Californian has views like this. You are looking down over Pixar Pier. World of Color is right there. You can turn your TV to the channel and it'll play the music. Spend the extra $100 a night and get yourself this theme park view room. You will thank me later. It's absolutely stunning.
This is an image from World of Color from within the park, if you haven't seen it, but imagine this type of water and screen show as viewed from above. We actually have stayed in one of these amazing rooms you're talking about. Went back one of the first times that they brought back the electrical parade.
Okay.
They actually had packages at the hotel for the parade, and what they would do is they had the music synced. And so you could be in your room and you could look out the window and you could watch the parade, from above as it came down towards the pier. Really, they took advantage of the fact that you did have those amazing theme park views. And you are correct. They are really beautiful.
It's absolutely stunning. And for not that much more than a standard room, and certainly less than you're going to pay at the other 2 Disney hotels, yes, you're further away, but these views are incredible.
And they're opening a new restaurant is coming to this location. By the way, my husband chiming in with his surprise at how cool this location looked. But the restaurant, I want to say it's called the Great Maple Company. I know the word
I
maple.
just read up on it yesterday too, and I don't remember the name of it. But yeah, it's basically going to be what used to kind of be like the Stitches buffet area. They're taking that over and redoing it Pixar themed.
Yeah, and the menu there looks incredible. It's on my to-do list when I
guess
get
we
back
have to
there
go
this
try it out.
I am super eager for it, but I like to try new things and new foods. Let's see. I know also this spring over at California Adventure is the Food and Wine Festival.
Well, yes. I mean, who doesn't love Food and Wine Festivals? The one at Epcot's so popular. In fact, I already have my reservations booked. I'm going down for opening weekend, so I'm very excited. The thing with the Food and Wine Festival here in California is it's a lot smaller than the one at Epcot. There aren't as many food booths, and it's a little bit more expensive. You're going to pay more for the food booth items, but the portions are double the size, and I would argue that the quality is better. And I'm a diehard Epcot Food and Wine Festival fan, but I think the quality of the foods here are better. It's also not an international food and wine festival. It is a California food and wine festival. So it's focusing on the different foods you would find around the entire state of California. So there's a Korean barbecue booth, or like a taco booth. There's a bunch of different Asian themed booths. And then there's also they have a whole booth dedicated to avocados because we grow them here and we love them. But they also have what Epcot hasn't brought back yet. They have the different like wine, beer, mixology class seminars.
Yes.
Because we're so close to Napa and Sonoma Valley, the actual winemakers, it's not their food and bev team, it's the actual winemakers are coming down and talking to you about their grapes that they're growing and the harvests that they're doing. Because it's not harvest season, they can be there. I think that's the unfortunate thing about the Epcot Festival, is it happens during the harvest time. So you're talking to real winemakers, you're doing mixology classes. They still have a couple of special events where there's like a big grand dinner at Napa Rose, or they have like 3-course pairing menus, which Epcot hasn't brought back yet. And I think it's truly missing from that festival. California still has it.
Okay, there you go. Once again, if you're looking for a vacation at Disneyland, we recommend our friends over at Mouse Fan Travel. I know Heather and the other travel advisors there, as you can see, they are passionate about vacationing and Disney vacations in particular. I know they're quite knowledgeable. They can help you navigate the ins and outs. One of the elements of using a travel advisor that I discovered during our last chat last week, we discussed Walt Disney World. If you missed that, you can check that out here on the YouTube. Is that when savings come up, you're able to help out with that even if your trip's already booked?
Yeah, absolutely. We want you to book early. This way you're locking in the hotel and the room category you want before it sells out. But then if a discount is released that works with your particular reservation, we're going to get that applied for you. So you're always getting the best offer available. It's kind of the best of both worlds. You lock it in, we take care of the discount. So you don't have to do any of that work.
Oh, fantastic. So that's just another reason to use a travel advisor. Let's see, later this year, I know fans are excited. Tickets go on sale in the spring for this August event. August is D23 Expo. I think it's called the Ultimate Fan Fest now is what they're calling it. August 9th, 10th, and 11th. So perhaps that's on your radar. I don't know. Do you go? It's on my radar. It's in a big letters. I'm eager for the dates to open.
I used to go every year. I didn't go to the last one. Unless they put me to work, I'm probably not going to go to this one. It's too tiring for me now. I think I got too old for it. But it's a lot of fun. I've enjoyed every single one that I went to. It's a mix of being around other Disney fans, finding out what's going to be new, whether it's in the parks or the TV or the movies. There's also a lot of Disney history that comes with it, different panels from Disney legends. I think it's really, really cool. I am just to the point where I don't like to wait in line for hours. So I watch it online and let the internet tell me what's happening.
I was going to say, and that's how I go. I actually go and I make a point of not waiting in line, but I have a wonderful time because of all the different presentations that are available outside of the main venues. So they're on the show floor in years past. This year, we're waiting still to find out details of this year, because this year, for the first time, they're actually going to separate out. They're going to have a portion of the event there at the convention center, but then some of the events are going to be over at the, is it still called the Honda Center? It's changed names a few times over the years.
They always do, but I think it's a good move and a bad move. It's great in that more people get to see the presentations because they always book full, sell out within minutes. So I think that's great. But also then you now are responsible for commuting. And not that it's far away, it's a mile away, but still, like, you're leaving the venue where everything is to go see these big panels. And so it's just another added layer to your day. And also, quite frankly, for those putting it on, probably a logistical nightmare.
I can only imagine all that's going on for them, but just knowing the demand, how many people wanted to get into some of those some of those more popular presentations like the Disney parks or the movies. I'm really glad that they have found a way to answer the fact that the convention center was only so big. They couldn't make the convention center any bigger.
Try it. If it doesn't work, we change it for the next time, but it doesn't hurt to try it and see how it winds up working out for everyone.
So if you're looking for travel around that time,
do it now. Immediately now.
Yeah, most of the people in my universe have already booked their hotels.
And I mean, the Disney hotels still have some availability left because most of the people who are going for D23 are looking to stay right near the convention center. But you should book now.
Yes, and do you find that? Well, no, I'll not ask. It's okay. I changed my mind. Overall, I thought once again, we'll kind of highlight what's happening throughout the year because there's always, as Heather said, there's always stuff going on at Disneyland. We've got the Lunar New Year followed by their gospel celebration, food and wine, Star Wars, Pixar, Halloween. So unlike
these just look like fun. I'm like just seeing it all laid out. It's like, oh, there's so much fun things happening at Disneyland this year.
And there's little aspects to each of, and then there's little elements of each of these that make them particularly special. The Star Wars, we're going to see unique music coming to Galaxy's Edge for the fireworks. If you've seen the fireworks from Galaxy's Edge, they're beautiful, but now they're going to have their own like thematic score, so you're still staying within that world of Bayou. The favorite nighttime entertainment, Fantasmic, it's been gone for a while. It's coming back.
And if you haven't seen Fantasmic in Disneyland, you must.
Right.
The one in Florida is honestly just awful compared to the one in Disneyland. I said it. I don't think that there's many people who have seen both that would argue with me. It's just, there's something that is just better about it in Disneyland and magical about you're not in a theater, you're on the rivers of America. You're sitting in the middle of the theme park, and it adds a whole other layer to it.
And anybody who's been around Laughing Place for a while knows I'm one of those who argues on that point. But
you're wrong. You're just wrong.
I love the convenience and the theater seating of Fantasmic. However, that was because Disneyland got rid of what I thought was one of the key elements of the show for me, and that was Peter Pan. That Peter Pan segment when they changed it to Pirates of the Caribbean, it lost a lot for me. And so that really is what elevated Walt Disney World as, for me, a better overall, given everything that comes into play when it comes to Fantasmic. But like you say, it's coming back. Peter Pan's coming back. So I'm interested to see it now. Obviously, we're going to be wondering and interested to see how they handle the finale because of the dragon. As if you don't know, the dragon caught fire.
I mean, if the dragon is not bursting into flames, is she really a dragon? I don't know. But yes, I agree with you. Like, what's going to happen? Because that dragon made the show. The show so much better than the one in Florida, and it was spectacular. So I'm hoping that they figured out a way to keep it the same but less flammable.
So it's going to be very interesting to see how Disney creative has decided to vision the finale in light of that. So we're all eagerly awaiting that as well. And of course, Christmas time.
Oh, I mean, Christmas at Disneyland. Christmas at any Disney park is beautiful, but Disneyland, there's another level to it. I mean, it's a small world alone. You know, they have the holiday overlay again, where they turn it into it's a small world Christmas. But even if you don't ride the ride, the whole facade is just lit up in billions of Christmas lights and the just magic of it all. You know, it's just absolutely stunning. So Christmas at Disneyland is fantastic.
And they get it to snow.
They make it snow. There's gingerbread cookies, which I just found out this year that there are 2 different recipes. So, of course, you must go and get both recipes and do a taste test. What else? They have the Christmas parade, that happens in the middle of the day because there's no Christmas party. So you can just go and see the Christmas parade, and it is long. It's like a 20-minute parade. It's really pretty.
And it's my husband's favorite.
It's a great parade.
A Christmas fantasy. Yeah, no, that is an amazing parade, and I love the tune, and I can't believe it's been around as long as it has. I know it's been around since at least 97.
It's been the 90s at least.
So
never changed.
Yeah,
it's so great.
It's been a mainstay of Disneyland Christmas time. As we wind down here, as we wrap things up, what do you want to leave our viewers with, Heather?
I am going to say that I think every Disney fan needs to visit Disneyland. Whether you are an avid Walt Disney World fan, you've never been before, this is where Disney started. This is the whole beginning of the Disney theme park empire. And no, it is not as big as Walt Disney World, but I think that it is more charming. It is the only place that Walt Disney himself ever actually walked. And there's a lot of history in that park. And I think that if you are a Disney fan, you really owe it to yourself to come visit the original park. It's just very special.
For me, Disneyland is very special. It is actually where I met my husband. We were both Disneyland annual pass holders at the time. We met on Main Street. And so
really romantic. That's like a Disney fan dream. I don't think I ever knew that story.
Yeah, no, so it's very special, and because of that, most of our like dating, if you want to use an old-fashioned term, courtship, would have happened there at Disneyland. So it's an incredibly precious place. He actually ended up proposing there, where we had met by the piano player.
Yay,
and even though Rod's retired, we still maintain a friendship with him, like family, called during the holidays. So Disneyland is very much that kind of small town for us. It harkens back to an era gone by where you kind of knew your neighbors, and it's a refreshing place to go. And
it's just charming. It's a place where you don't have to ride any rides. You can just sit, take in the detail and the history and the atmosphere. It's very special.
Yeah, it's beautifully done. There's a nice pacing to it. Sometimes when you go to a theme park, it's just go, go, go. But the beauty of Disneyland is that it does have like a theatrical element to it. So you have moments where you know, in essence, there's that intensity, but then you also have those quiet moments. And so you do have that opportunity when you're at the park. And so I agree with Heather 100%. If you're a Disney fan and you haven't been there, go check out Disneyland, because it is different. You may not it's harder to understand when you just kind of look at the pieces from afar, but when you get there and you experience them all together, it is a different experience than you've had if you haven't been there yet.
Just because it's smaller than the Florida parks doesn't mean it's less than. It's exactly. Very, very special.
Exactly. So with that, I want to say thank you, everybody, for joining us as we've been talking about Disneyland in 2024. Always, we ask you to check out our travel partners, Mouse Fan Travel. You'll see them all over the website here. You can easily find a link to check out that no obligation free quote, or you can visit mousefantravel.com. And I know you'll be seeing Heather again here on Laughing Place as we do more of these vacation insights and kind of offer you a little bit of information and our experiences inside Disney theme parks. So thank you, everyone. See ya. Bye.
Bye.